Our case study is on Serengeti National Park in Tanzania. This presentation was done by Andrew Bergman, Aidan Hyde, and Thomas Herman. First, a short introduction to the park itself. Located in northern Tanzania, Serengeti National Park spans roughly 14,750 square kilometers. The park is part of the larger Serengeti Mara ecosystem, extending into Kenya's Masai Mara Reserve. Ecologically, the park encompasses diverse habitats ranging from savanna grasslands and riverine forests to kopjes and seasonal wetlands, each supporting distinct wildlife communities. It is a stronghold for predators such as lions, cheetahs, leopards, and hyenas, and remains vital for threatened species like the African elephant and black rhino. In a modern context, Serengeti also serves as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is globally recognized, sustaining one of the largest remaining large-scale terrestrial migrations on Earth, mainly focused on the annual movement of over 1 million wildebeest alongside zebras and gazelle. Next, a short history of the land and the people that live on it. The Maasai are a Neolithic ethnic group native to southern Kenya and northern Tanzania, including primarily areas surrounding what is now designated as Serengeti National Park. They migrated south from Nile Valley region in the 15th and 17th centuries, bringing with them a rich pastoral culture centered on cattle herding, which remains central to their identity today. When Serengeti National Park was established in 1951, Maasai were relocated from their ancestral grazing lands to areas surrounding the park, such as other conservation areas and designated reservations. This displacement limited their access to traditional pastures and water sources, challenging their way of life and traditions. Today, many Maasai communities continue to live near the park, balancing cultural preservation with modern education and tourism opportunities, while contributing to the conservation and sustainable development initiatives of large-scale groups. The history of the establishment generally begins in years following World War I, where hunting expeditions became popular across East Africa. In 1930 and 1937, the area was first recognized for its ecological value and set aside as a game reserve, specifically for sport hunting, where lions were an especially prized target. On July 1st, 1951, Serengeti was officially designated as a national park. Among its most influential advocates was Dr. Bernard Grismack, whose pioneering research and film, Serengeti Shall Not Die, worked on with his son, helped the world understand the importance of conserving the vast ecosystem. The fortress model of conservation, meaning strictly excluding human activity, often through armed presence, was initially used, but it changed largely in 1959 when authorities allowed Maasai pastoralists to graze their livestock in certain areas, including areas that had previously been tied to their cultural history. Serengeti's global significance was later affirmed when it was designated UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1981 and is today classified as an IUCN Category 2 protected area, meaning preservation of both biodiversity and natural processes is the key point.
We now turn to threats facing this remarkable protected area. One of the most significant threats affecting the Serengeti is human and wildlife conflict, both within and around the park. This conflict arises primarily from population growth and intensive tourism, which drives increasing development, resulting in habitat fragmentation in and around the park. Long-term conflicts in Tanzania and the surrounding areas of Africa have created large groups of displaced refugees who can wander into the park looking for shelter or resources. The second major threat facing Serengeti is climate change, which causes more extreme wet and dry seasons and disrupts the park's hydrological balance. As a result, only a single river maintains a consistent flow throughout the year, greatly limiting the availability of water for native species to drink in the park. Our final and most significant threat is subsistence poaching within the park. Subsistence poaching refers to hunting of wildlife for food or small local trade rather than for commercial profit. This activity is primarily carried out by local communities living outside the park, driven by limited access to nutrient-rich food and widespread poverty. Among the most common targeted species in the park is wildebeest, which is hunted for its bushmeat. The predominant method used to capture these animals involves setting snares, which trap and kill them. According to a study published in a Cambridge journal, an estimated 60,000 to 118,000 wildebeest are killed annually due to poaching. These snares can also injure or kill many other species of animals that are not traditionally targeted by the poachers. This represents a serious conservation challenge within the park, one that's ongoing management efforts are seeking active to address.
One of the most critical management principles for controlling poaching in Serengeti National Park is immediate and decisive action. This principle emphasizes the need for park officials to respond swiftly and assertively to threats, especially as poaching intensifies. According to Serengeti Watch, bushmeat poaching is growing, and combined with the doubling of population by mid-century, it will be an enormous and unsustainable loss of wildlife. This warning underscores how serious and time-sensitive the issue is. When poaching increases faster than enforcement can react, animal populations can collapse in a single decade. In response, the Tanzania National Parks Authority, known as TANAPA, has taken immediate measures by increasing ranger patrols, improving surveillance with drones, and expanding rapid response units that can reach reported poaching zones within hours. These strategies follow the core idea behind immediate and decisive action: detect, respond, and deter before damage escalates. Additionally, as Serengeti Watch notes, through statements made by the park's warden himself, poaching for bushmeat has advanced from a sustenance to a commercial level. This statement demonstrates how fast-changing poaching dynamics demand equally swift and decisive management responses. The second management principle in Serengeti's National Park conservation strategy is regulations and adequate policing. While laws against poaching have existed for decades, enforcement in such a vast landscape has always been challenging. According to a Cambridge study, they found that large groups of illegal hunters had a lower probability of being arrested by village game scouts. This finding illustrates that enforcement gaps exist when resources are stretched thin, and policing efforts must be strengthened with the better organization and community involvement. Another academic journal from Tropical Conservation Science emphasizes a similar quote, arguing that, quote, co-management arrangements are increasingly gaining popularity as intervention to overcome the shortcomings of centralized management that impede harmonization of conflicting interests among the divisive stakeholder groups. This highlights the need for inclusive and transparent governance where park officials, local communities, and law enforcement cooperate rather than clash. When local residents are part of anti-poaching initiatives, regulations gain legitimacy and policing becomes more effective. To enforce regulations adequately, TANAPA and its partners have expanded ranger recruitment, invested in ranger training programs, and coordinated with Kenyan authorities across the Masai Mara border. This cross-border policing ensures that migratory animals are protected through their range and that poachers cannot exploit jurisdictional loopholes. Stronger regulations combined with well-resourced community-backed policing create the stable enforcement foundation that every successful conservation system needs. Thank you for listening to our case study about